evolution is a fact. Even though people say it's the theory based on millions and millions of fossil evidence, pieces of fossilized evidence. It's factual. We can literally see through fossil records things changing. For example, Tyrannosaurus rex, velociraptors, all the raptor type dinosaurs. We had some scientists say, well, these dinosaurs were more like lizards. Some scientists say they were more like birds. I remember this debate going on for a long time. My oldest son is a huge dinosaur guy. And so I watched all these dinosaur shows with him. So what happened was in China, there was this huge amount of fossil evidence found. And it was almost like these rocks opening up like pages in a book. And they had this huge special on the Science Channel or something years ago. And every time they opened one, there was a new version of a dinosaur with feathers. And so before that, there was no real confirmation except for one Archaeopteryx. And other than that, that was the only feathered dinosaur. Well, then they found all these other ones. So dinosaurs are still dinosaurs. Velociraptors are still velociraptors. But we found new evidence to say these raptor type dinosaurs probably all had feathers to some degree.
Oh, that's so cool. And
So,
that's so cool.
and yes, the quantum realm is a whole different story entirely. And Neil deGrasse Tyson has a wonderful quote, and I can't think of it exactly, but he talks about our knowledge and the perimeter of our ignorance. And he says it way more eloquently. And if I think of it, I'll email it to you. But it's a beautiful quote because we know a certain amount of things, but we don't know so much more. Have you ever seen Men in Black, the first one?
Sure
You
have.
know, the quote Tommy Lee Jones is telling um, Will
Will
Smith.
Smith.
I couldn't remember. He's telling Will Smith, you know, yesterday you thought we were alone in the universe. Today you found out there's alien life. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow. And that's so true. And
I
I love that.
I think that like if that was explained to me like when I was asking my whys in science class, it was like my expectation of everything is fact, trust people blindly. And
Oh,
that's where I'm finding so much more relief when I'm kind of on my own excursion of discovering like I don't have to be tested on things, so I'm just kind of pulled in a direction that I feel called to. And I love exploring things that contradict things I believe and
mhm.
things I see because I love just the learning of it all. And one, finding out that there's like proof of dinosaurs having feathers is super, super cool. Thinking of them as like big roosters is something that just keeps popping up in my head. Um,
Well, the big ones probably weren't fully feathered, but they probably had some feathers because you know how you buy a chicken at the store and if it has the feet still on it, you can see the scales on the feet.
yeah.
Feathers are just scales that are just a different version of scales. Feathers came from scales. They're just
Why weren't you my science teacher?
well, and this is why it was hard for me to leave full-time education because of what you said. You were the why kid. I was the why kid. And when I taught for all those years, I wanted to answer as many why questions as I could. And I always told my students and my children, my own children, always question everything. Don't watch one news channel, watch all the news channels. Don't listen to one person's opinion or facts about something. Listen to multiple people, get multiple sources. And I taught them, including my own, because it's very possible I could be wrong. That came back to bite me when my kids got older and said, Mom, you told us to question everything, even you. So that was a little frustrating, but they listened. And it made the students I had and my kids more aware of how to take information in and the proper way.
It's about building a relationship with the person that you're talking to as an educator, right? it's so much more than just like, hey, this is the textbook. And that's where I didn't vibe with school, like the traditional
Mhm.
schooling system, because of that. Like I felt like it was so much more someone talking at me. And then don't get me wrong, I had wonderful teachers,